Dill. What's going on, everybody? My name is Big B. Back today with a episode 8 Titans review. Gonna run through this as quick as we can. Try to be as fast as we can. A lot more detail to get into on this one. This episode much better overall. I'll give a final score rating at the end. Much better overall at the very end of that. But so let's get into it. Alrighty. So first and foremost, episode starts with Gar hunting down Jason Todd's friend, which we kind of saw at the end of the last episode where he kind of got to the house, and it picks up right where it left off. I think her name is I forgot the poor girl's name. I'm sure it'll be relevant eventually. I completely forgot it, but yeah. So Gar's talking to her, telling her she wants to find Jason, help him, yada. Then it cuts to Nightwing and Barbara kind of flirting, going back and forth, and then talking about how they're supposed to go to some type of gala tonight. And then Barbara looks up, and her ceiling is leaking terribly. And she's like, ugh, and she's like using a bowl to fix it, and whatever the case may be. Then it kind of cuts to Superboy, Blackfire in bed together. And they're both, hanging out and then not having intercourse or getting it on. That could happen maybe a little bit later. And then it cuts back to the kitchen where Dick is, and he's kind of looking at the news, talking to Corey, and then out of nowhere, Gar calls him from the Batcave. He's like, hey, listen, there's a guy here who says he wants to talk to you. He says he knows you're Nightwing and Bruce Wayne is Batman. Obviously, that's Tim Drake. Tim Drake's at the door. So Nightwing sits down with him. They ended up talking. And Tim Drake pretty much tells him, I've been following Robin the entire time, brings out the flying Graysons. He's like, listen, there were only two people in the world who were able to do a one-handed meat hook. He was like, you and your father. He's like, and then one day I'm watching Robin on the news, and he does a one-handed meat hook. He's like, and the same thing with Nightwing doing one-handed meat hook. He has pictures of it. He has all that. In typical Bat family fashion, Nightwing denies. Grayson's like, you're crazy, just coincidence, they stole my moves, whatever the case may be. And then as Nightwing's like, listen, I'll drop you off wherever you want to go, yada. Tim Drake yells out to him, I want to be the next Robin. Cut from there, it goes to Crane, Jason Todd, above the water line or sewer line, I can't remember exactly where it is. And they're talking. They're both kind of making up. But you can see Jason's starting to get a little strung out because Jason doesn't have. He keeps trying to inhale the I guess, medicine, gas, whatever it's actually called from Crane. The fear toxin. And he's out of it. So you see Jason's a little bit strung out. And then Jason and Crane kind of get into it. Jason yells to Crane, you used me. And Crane's like, of course I used you. Crane finally tells him, like, yeah, I used you. I used you to do this. I used you to get ahead. He's like, the entire world is all about being, like, practical and it's all about what chips you have and this and that. They get into a fight. Crane. Todd punches him a couple times. Crane smiles, looks at him, goes, are you done? And then he hits him one more time, knocks him out cold. Then after that, it cuts back to Tim and Dick, and Dick is dropping Tim Drake off, and he's like, I thought the second Robin was Jason Todd, but then it's impossible because I saw Jason Todd the other day outside his shop where my dad got shot. And then of course now Nightwing going into pure mode. He's like Tim Drake's like, yeah, I recognize that walk anywhere. Now he calls up. Nightwing drops him off. It's like, wow, strange coincidence. Drives off, calls Barbara, has her start tracking him through the computer to verify his walk. Sure enough, as she's like, oh yeah, I pinpointed him 15 minutes ago, yada. He's going down the street. He looks up. Jason Todd's there. Dick's on the motorcycle. He's getting ready to go pursue Jason Todd. He goes. As he goes, he gets hit by a car, goes flying, gets knocked out. Vision's real blurry, but as he looks up, Jason's standing over him. Cuts to him then in the hospital. I'm sorry. Jason standing over him, and then it kind of cuts back to the mansion. You know, they do a good job of cutting back and forth. Cuts back to the mansion of Superboy and Blackfire having sex, and then Corey's standing right over him. She's having visions again. She almost burns Blackfire, but when she's about to light Blackfire on fire, pretty much, Blackfire screams, which means some of her powers are coming back. Corey wakes up, has no idea what's going on. Then it cuts back to Nightwing in the hospital. Barbara Gordon's there. Pretty much just talking, going over, what happened, and then trying to get out of there. Barbara tries to have Dick read, like, the 6th line, because obviously that's something that, they did. And as Dick goes to read those eye test lines, that 6th line, the one that's, like, really small, but because Batman trained him, of course they know how to see that. He starts to get, like, a vision of, like, the bat symbol. And it's crazy because it's a bat symbol, but it's also kind of shaped in a Nightwing symbol. So it could be the symbol from when, like, he took over the cow. Maybe that's what it's trying to, implicate here. But regardless, moving on. Then he finally reads it, says he's fine. And pretty much the rest of this kind of gets really interesting because then Jason and Crane really aren't together. And, Jason goes to, I guess, like a peep show place is what it is. And they're like, all right, well, what do you want to do? This is that. And they're talking to him. He's like, I just want to talk. And he tells the guy and girl that he's like, I want you to be Hawk and you to be Dove. Or Hank and Dawn. And he says to the guy, Hank, I'm sorry for killing you. I feel terrible about that. And the guy who's there is like, I'm not dealing with this, walks away. The girl stays and kind of tells Jason, were you hiding? He's like, that doesn't mean anything. She's like, well, listen, we've all done really messed up things. The best way to, deal with it is to go home. Time's up, ends, closes, whatever the case may be. And he's like, I don't really have a home anymore. Then pretty much it cuts to Crane waking up, some guy coming in, doing an inspection. Crane ends up killing him. And then he's like, I got to find Jason Todd. So he actually put a tracker in Jason. And then a message gets to Gar that, Red Hood wants to meet Nightwing in the tunnels where they used to train, yada, yada, yada. Pretty much fast forward to the tunnels. Tim Drake is there, and he tells Nightwing, I'm gonna find Red Hood and Crane on my own, because he wants to follow him down there. And Nightwing's like, no. And then they go into the tunnels. Jason talks to him, tells him where Crane's going to be. Crane's in the tunnels, overhears, and you can see Crane gets upset. Nightwing agrees to bring him back into the home, give him a family again, whatever the case may be. Then it cuts to Crane seeing his mom, and this gets really messed up. Crane seeing his mom, who's apparently a therapist. And what ends up happening is they're talking, going back and forth. Crane acts like he's scared. And then he sees her look up to the left, and he's like, what did you do? She's like, I'm sorry. And then when the cops bust in, you see his mom there dead. So Crane killed his own mom. So we got a lot of that going on where people just keep killing their own family members. Last episode, the mobster shot her son in the head. This episode, we got that. I mean, it's a little messed up. So then pretty much after that, let's see. It cuts back to Nightwing talking to the team in the house. They all have an issue with Jason coming back. He's like, no, listen, he's got to be, held responsible, but we got to try to catch Crane first. That's the important thing. Then it cuts to the factory where Nightwing, where Jason Todd said Crane was going to be. Crane's going in. Tim Drake's there. Tim Drake then gets shot outside, and as he's sitting there bleeding out, Jason Todd comes by, tries to help him out. Then Crypto shows up, so Jason knows the Titans are there, so he goes to run inside. And, Jason says to Tim Drake, what are you doing here? And he says, and then Tim Drake says to Jason, I want to be Robin. And then he goes inside. Titans are there, help him out, call an ambulance, whatever the case may be. The whole time though, Dick is having visions. Like throughout the entire episode, he's having visions. And again, as he's looking at Tim Drake on the ground, then it cuts to like him seeing himself on the ground, which kind of messes him up. And then they go inside, chase Crane again. They start going after him. Pretty much Crane sets it up where Blackfire's in there. Starfire's in there. Shoots, fire at him, causes an explosion, which then causes his toxin to go into the Gotham water supply. Excuse me. As the Gotham water supply, as that happens, the ceiling in the GCPD breaks, comes down. And then afterwards, it goes back to Titans, and pretty much it comes to the realization that Crane used them to get it going the way they need to be. And then it kind of shows Barbara in the GCPD, and she starts seeing things, which pretty much means all of Gotham has now been dosed, which is what he was trying to do. So that's pretty much the episode. Again, a lot of stuff in there, a lot of things. We're going to wrap it up right now. I think Titans made a huge comeback this episode. This was big. Last episode felt like a filler episode. This one, a lot better, a lot stronger overall. I like where it's going. I don't like how Blackfire is good. That is something that kind of annoys me. Really gets to me a little bit. But overall, I really like where this is at. I think they're doing a great job of setting up Crane. I think they're doing a great job setting up the Red Hood story. And yeah, I give this episode 8.25 to 8.5. Like, it was really good, strong comeback. Maybe a lot of that has to do with the last episode and how weak that was. But again, this is 8.25 to 8.5 is where I would give this episode. Great rating overall so far for the season. 8 episodes in. It had a couple slower ones, but still, it's around 8. It's around 8 overall. But really good. If you haven't watched it yet, that's just the gist of it. Go back, watch Titans. It is really, really, really good. And if you just click on this for the first time, watch all of Titans. Like, watch it all. It's on HBO Max. It comes out on Thursdays. Watch it all. But yeah, overall, this one's really good. I definitely think they're setting up where I'm not sure if they're going to do the whole Dick Grayson as Batman thing, because that's the only way they're ever really going to get Batman in here due to the rights that WB has. There's no way they're going to put Batman in. But yeah, man, it's going real strong, real good. So next week, we'll be back again. Until next time, take it easy. See you.